hear me, maybe you can give us a wave and some reactions for us to know whether everybody online can hear me at the moment. It's good to have everybody here. We also have with us Mr. Udochukwu Afuna, who is going to be giving us a lot of insights into getting opportunities for further education, of course, specifically looking at how to approach funding issues, not necessarily to give you funds. I don't think SP has the resources for that. But what we are rather looking at is teaching you the right techniques to look for some of the opportunities that are available. Sometimes some things are very clear, but we do not know them because we do not have the chance to view them, or we think about them too complicated, So Mr. Udochukwu is here to simplify things for us. And on behalf of the SP executives, I want to welcome all of you, and I'm sure he will deliver a very wonderful presentation to all of us. So let's give him the attention to take us through today's discussion. Thank you. So Mr. Udochukwu, when you are ready, we can start.
All right, thank you very much. I'm ready. Once again, a very good afternoon, good evening, good morning, from wherever you are. I want to thank Society of Petroleum Engineers, Ghana section for this opportunity. Please, in the course of these conversations, if I'm not audible, you let me know so that I can increase the volume of my voice. So I want to thank SP Ghana section for this opportunity. I'm a product of SPE. I worked for SPE and I'm still volunteering for SPE. Just like he rightly said, SPE doesn't give you the phone, but we are here to share an information that is very, very useful for this present age and time. And most importantly, considering that the dollar has been, in the upward trend against other currencies, and I'm sure Ghanaian cedis is also one of them. Before I proceed, I want to appreciate my good friend, Mr. Riverson, for the work he's been doing with his team in the SP Ghana section. I remember clearly in 2016, when I went for a meeting with SP International at Movenpick, if I got the pronunciation well, in Accra. And the participation from SP Ghana members were not very encouraging. In fact, it was at an HSC event and over 90% of the people there were Nigerians. But today, he has changed the narrative. Thank you very much, Riverson, for the work you're doing. Thank you. I appreciate you. I salute you and your team. You're doing a great work. Okay, we are here to share the information which will be beneficial to all of us. And then I encourage everyone that if you digest this information, spread the good news, because an informed society is a successful society. And also a differentiator between a successful person and someone who is yet to be successful is access to information and its application. Okay, so back to why we are here, navigating US and Canada education funding. Please, may I crave your indulgence that if you're not speaking, you put your microphone on mute so that everyone can understand and hear us properly. Okay. This is the outline of our presentation. That's how we navigate. There will be a brief introduction. I would have loved to know everyone here, but that would take the whole day. So I would introduce myself, permit me to do that just for myself. All of us are important, all of us are equal, but because I'm like standing on the podium here in the virtual space, there is a need to introduce who I am. We'll talk about what we are not discussing. That sounds tricky, right? We have to talk about what we are not discussing, take note of this, what we are not discussing. And then we navigate through why we are here in this meeting. And this conversation is going to be broken down into two segments. After segment one, we'll have question and answers, and then we'll go to the practicalities, the walkthrough of the process. And then as we go through that, then we'll have a question and answer session as well, and we close. And the duration, we don't think is going to last more than an hour, as you can see from my schedules. Okay, we all are beautiful, we all are good, but who am I? My name is Udochukwu Akuna. I'm first of all a family man, as you can see there. I love family, right? And I'm an engineer with also information technology training. I've got master's degree from the Royal Institute of Technology, Sweden. And I am an SPE member, and I worked for SPE as a paid staff of SPE in Nigeria, where I made very, very impactful contributions because SPE is a family, and the vision of SPE it's something that I keyed into as a person. Currently, at Royal Rose University in Canada here, where I'm studying Master of Global Management. All right, thank you. Okay, as you can see on the slide, the trains. Is that one talking to me?
So Udo, just a second. There's a host. Please, all of you who are joining the conversation, we know sometimes you have your microphones on automatic on, but please, when you join, try to quickly turn them on, put them on mute. If you have to have a conversation in the background, kindly put your microphone on mute so that we'd not get as many interruptions as we're getting now. So thank you once again. Yep.
Thank you very much. All right. So if you look at this trend, I got this information from Statista Canada. This is a very credible source of information. Tuition for international graduates in the US and Canada has been on the increase. And we know US is far more expensive than Canada. So because I am not in the US, I picked out of Canada where I am. If you're looking at the data where you have the figures where you have you know, our emphasis, you can see 22,000 Canadian dollars. And this should be about rough estimate of about 189,000 Canadian cities. And I don't think this money is easy to come by. Likewise, my own country, Nigeria, where I come from originally, my country of birth, that's quite a lot of money for someone to expend on education. There are very few people who could afford that. If you want to study in the US, which is a very, very highly developed country in education and everything you can think of, it is far more expensive, far more expensive. It could even be as up to 3 times this in some of the Ivy League, universities. So we find out that it's always a challenge for people who want to further their careers, who want to further education, who want to expand their scope, who want to have a global outlook of things, who want to be professionals, have influences and work experience from across the globe. It becomes a difficult situation for them to achieve their dreams. Some go through scholarships. There are offers of scholarship, but they are very competitive. However, we are here to take us through what is very, very simple, very easy to, to get without hassles. And by the time we are done, you smile. Okay, what we are not discussing admission process. I'm not an admission consultant or those kind of things. We're not discussing entrance exams, IELTS, GMAT. No, that's not why we are here. Our focus is on funding. We are not discussing university application process, and neither are we discussing scholarships. This is just to strengthen our focus to know where we are, why we are here. So why are we here? Why are we meeting? We are here to identify a source of funding for advanced education, bachelor's and master's, specifically for master's degree, I will let you know why it's specific for master's degree. This education funding is there at your beck and call. I will also share the nuances about this source of funding. Then I will share the practicalities. I'll walk you through the application process. In a simple analogy, what you're going to hear is as though a big uncle, Uncle Joe says, I want to fund your education, but you're going to pay me back in 10 years. 10 years. And while you're studying, you're going to be paying me a peanut that is equivalent to your, even less than your pocket money. That's just the analogy. Uncle Joe is going to give you money for your education in the US and Canada, and you're going to pay him back in 10 years. That's what it is. And this is real. Perhaps some of us may have come across it, but by the time I go through the slides, you will understand better. Now, this Uncle Joe is an international credit institution, credit company in the US. They started off in 2017 or thereabout, 2007. And they operate with universities in the US and Canada. They are most suitable for graduate studies. They also fund bachelor's degrees. However, I would encourage anyone not to go for that because they support your bachelor's when you are in your penultimate year, which means you take care of yourself, go in there and spend first 3 years, right? Or first 2 years. And that's not why we are here. We're here so that they can help you move, because I know the difficulties about funding in Africa. Okay. Now, most credit institutions here and every other part of the world, they require that you have strong credit record. But this institution does not require that you have strong credit record. Does it sound strange? It sounds like a dream, yes. And you don't need a co-signer, a guarantor. You don't need that. That's a risk for the business, right? But it's real. And then their funding covers your tuition and living expense. But the living expense is for those students who are studying in the United States of America. For those of us, for anyone who is in Canada, they don't do that because IRCC, that's the Canadian Immigration Services, they don't permit that. All right. So if you're coming to Canada, you have to plan to take care of your living expense, which is an estimate of about 10,000 Canadian dollars per year. But for the US, they take care of your living expense. And imagine this, they can give you up to 100,000 US dollars. So I wanted to do the math, put the $100,000, convert it to Ghana cedis. You know how much this organization is willing to give you. They can perform Know Your Customer KYC in 1 week. Once you put your data, within 1 week, they are that smart. They can do KYC, know your customer. They know all the details about you, find out your address, do the verification within 1 week. They also work with Nova Credits in the US to do credit check about you, because you would tell them, this is my credit record. Although that does not make you to get it or not get it, that is not a prerequisite, but they will do that within 1 week. For Nigeria and other countries that have IDs tied to their banking systems, they run all through your banks and then give you the reports, and then have a copy. I think Ghana has a national ID, and I'm not sure if it's tied to the banks, but they do that as well because Ghana is covered. Now, they have a fixed loan interest. It's not variable. It doesn't fluctuate with economic situations, with the fluidity of the market. No, you can imagine taking a loan today, 2023 October, and you have a fixed rate despite the economic fluctuations and its accompanying, circumstances. In the next 10 years, that's 2035. So if you're 25 years, when you're 35, next 10 years, that's when you're going to pay conclude your repayment. If you just want to, pay according to what you have assigned, what you have agreed with them in the terms of the contract. However, you can, if you have the money, you can pay them off without any penalty. So the interest rate is not variable; it's fixed, right, throughout the period of the 10 years. You don't have upfront costs, okay? Because you want to take this loan, you pay so amount. No, it does not exist. Like I said earlier, no cosigner, no collateral, and this very important, it protects your dignity. You're not going to tell the big brother there, like my friend River saying, okay, yeah, I want to take a loan. Could you be my cosigner? Can I have your properties as collateral and those kind of things? No, it protects your integrity. You're not going to meet, don't need to meet anybody. Wow, I think this is very beautiful. It is a subprime mortgage. When I mean subprime, I mean you don't need to have good credit record or previous credit record that is very excellent. Then it's a DIY. So after this meeting, please don't contact me. Do it to yourself. It's very easy, very simple. You could just call me, maybe, oh, what does this mean? But it is due to yourself. You don't need an agent. Some people, consultants, some people, I don't know, for some reasons, they're not confident in themselves to go into application portals of systems to do some of these things. But this one, I can bet you that you can do it yourself. It's DIY. You surprised? Okay. Now this is the bomb. That's where you celebrate. The organization will give you your financial documents, statements of accounts equivalent for your application, visa application. And what they're going to give you is recognized, very much valid at IRCC and the US immigrations. This is where many people have problems. And that's the most important benefits that this credit organization gives you. When they give you the loan, when they sign contracts with you, they give you a document which you upload to your visa application. And I think anybody who does this has concluded your study plan for you. All right. So let's move ahead. I'm sure you'll be expecting to know the organization. This is the organization. If you're online, which I know you should be listening to me, you're online. You could also, by the side, open it up. The name is Empower. By the time we are done, you should be smiling like this Ukrainian man smiling. Empower Financing is the organization I've been describing their services. Like you can see what I cut out from their website, they say, make your study abroad dream a reality with Empower. From their information, the application is online, digital. Within 20 minutes, you should be able to do that. You don't need to walk into any office. You do that at the comfort of your home. No papers in the banks. And this supports United States and Canada universities and colleges as well, for those who want to attend colleges. 400 plus, over 400. As I today have supported over 5,000 students, and they have graduated. And eligibility, about 190 countries, citizens are eligible, including Ghana, including Nigeria. And then students of Empower, okay, over 91% have indicated that their success, has been a success of to their education pursuit has been through Empower. So you can see that they have a very great success rate. Like I said earlier, their interest rate ramps up and it's as low as 20 US dollars. You could do the math. I don't know how much $20 US cost in Ghana offhand, but one Canadian dollar is about 8 point something a Canadian. I mean, Ghana cities. So, but take note, please. Every amount in dollar here is US dollars, not Canadian dollars. So put your focus that we are talking about US dollars, but they support both US and Canada. Okay, and then you have interest rates of about 14%, 11%, which ramps up. During the time you are studying, you could pay as low as 20 US dollars, 25 US dollars, 30 US dollars. By the time you graduate, they give you 6 months free period, and that free period is for you to secure a job, and you let them know. After that 6 months, the expiration of 6 months, then they increase it a little, and then after some years they increase it again with the assumption that you have already secured an employment. However, at any time you can pay lump sum to offset your loan. Okay. What does Empower not do? Empower does not give you money. That sounds contradictory, right? Let me explain. Empower works with the university. They don't give you money into your account. These universities that are in contracts with Empower get the money from Empower paid to them. So for the US, the university disburses both your tuition and also your living expense into your account. So just get it clear. Empower Financing does not give you any money. They pay money to the university. So once you sign up the contract, you are sure your university is going to get your money. Just follow the processes. They'll get the money paid to your universities. Then for those in the US, the universities send you your own your living expense. But if you're studying in Canada, that does not exist. They don't have such services because of the laws here in Canada. You take care of your living expense, but they pay your tuition directly to your university. Another important thing to know is your tuition deposit. Your tuition deposit is your responsibility because it's like a surety that, okay, I am taking this university. I've accepted this university. So they don't come in until you have confirmed that you are taking the university admission, and that is done by paying your tuition deposit. Most tuition deposit are within 5% to 10% of the entire tuition. So if you're making your plans to engage in Empower, make budget for your tuition deposit. That will be your responsibility. Okay. And these engagements, here are your own financial responsibilities. Your university application fee is yours. Empower does not need to know. They don't get into it. Your tuition deposit is your responsibility. Your entrance exams, your WES evaluation, credentials evaluation, those things are your responsibility. So the big Uncle Joe is not going to take care of all this since listed, your flight tickets, right? They're not their responsibility. Their responsibility is to ensure that you have, once you have accepted this education, they will pay your tuition and pay your living expense if and only if you're studying in the US. So let me make it clear again, if you're studying in Canada, they don't do that. So looking at these 4 items listed, you can carefully make a budget for your education, and I tell you, it becomes less burdensome. So your university application could be average of about 100 US dollars. Tuition deposit that varies 5% to 10%. Entrance examinations and WES credential evaluation, maybe another $200. Then flight tickets that varies depending on your choice. Okay, at this segment, before we go to the application practicalities, I want to believe we now know the organization that should be able to do that, what they can do for you, what they cannot do for you. So I want to have your questions coming in, and please moderator, please moderate it well. If you want to ask a question, raise your hand, indicate your interest by the show of hand, and the moderator would then direct the questions to you to ask, and then I will attend to your questions before we get to the walkthrough, of the application process.
All right. Actually, we were thinking that it would be best for them to type it up so that one person could just read it out. So, all participants, if you have questions, I'd rather you type them up, then I'll read it out. Everybody will get to see your question, and then that will reduce the time in case somebody's connection is not stable at that point. So, I consider there's a hand up, but if you could quickly type up your question, I'd be happy to read it out for everybody. So the gentleman who has been speaking to us, I was waiting for more people to join so that I would share his very notable profile. He has a very excellent career so far. He's an awesome man. So he's been an SPE member, worked with SPE Nigeria for 10 years, and he's made significant impacts on the council. I can see one question, Joel, I'll read it out in a bit. He has over a cumulative 14 years experience. He has a BEng in electrical, electronics, and communications engineering from the Federal University of Technology, Nigeria. He also has a master's degree in computer networks from the Royal Institute of Technology in Sweden. As he said himself, he's a big family man. He's happily married with 1 girl and 2 boys. He's currently on his journey to becoming a Master of Global Management at the Royal Roads University, British Columbia, Canada. So he's somebody who has tested the waters. He knows what he's talking about. And I'm sure that with this session, all of us will be well informed. All right, so I have a few questions that have come up so far. So first from Joel, he says that, does it mean Canada has no free scholarship? That's question number 1. I don't know, Udo, do you want us to pick them question after question, or you want to have a few questions and then you answer them?
We'll take them question after question.
All right, so then the first one has come. Does it mean that Canada has no free scholarship? That's the very first question.
Okay, let's get it clear. I think that came from Joel, right? I repeat again, it's not a scholarship. There are scholarships available. You can compete for that. You can go into the competition. I started with what we are not discussing. We are not discussing scholarship. This is study loan, and it's spread 10 years for you to pay back. And like I made an analogy of Uncle Joe, it's just as one uncle, imagine one uncle says, I want to pay your tuition right here in Canada, and you pay me back a token within the period you're in university. Then after, when you graduate, then you start paying me back an increased rate. That's what it is. It's not a scholarship. It's a study loan, and the term is 10 years period. I think it's a very, very easy way to to support education. Let's put this in this perspective. If you got, after studying, if you got a job, you could be paid. Let me use US for instance. If you're an engineer, you could be paid up to $100,000 per annum. You could squeeze yourself. Year 1, you spend 50,000 and paying power 50,000. So within 2 years after graduation, you could offset all the bills, right? Meanwhile, that huge amount of money for your studies has been taken care of, and they spread it within 10 years, and there are no penalties if you pay earlier than the contracted period. So TechNode is not a scholarship; it's a study loan for 10 years. All right.
All right. So
Joe, give me a show of hand if you've understood what I said.
All right. So we'll take the next question. So please, does Empower Financing support students with partial scholarships? I suppose the first answer captured a bit of this.
Yep, but okay, let me shed more light.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, if you become an Empower Scholar, there are other benefits, which a scholarship, which is monthly scholarship, are part of them. I will discuss that after, after the question and answer. You see that. There are partial scholarships. That is that, services to help you put your bills. So be patient into a journey, okay? You will see where the scholarship comes in. That is support.
All right. So that has been taken care of. George O says, does it matter the kind of course you are reading or the university you are attending?
Course? No, it doesn't matter the kind of course. University, yes, you must work with the universities that are in partnership with Empower. During the walkthrough of application, you'll see that as well.
Okay.
Thank you, George.
George, so I think the more of the light to be shed on this a bit later. My own friend, Percival Sifa, has put a question up. Says, can we know the list of schools that Empower works with?
Yep, they're on their websites. On the slide, you see the website, but I'll share it in the chat box so that you copy and paste and open by yourself. Like I said, it's DIY. During the next segment of this presentation, so I will let you know the do's and don'ts for you to be very successful. Okay, of which
Mr. Grant. Charles Afro Grant. All right, so I suppose all of us who are online today, there's something we can all learn. The minimum Zoom etiquette is that when you join a Zoom online conversation, the first thing you do, if you're not the main speaker, or if you have not been invited to speak, is to mute yourself. Of course, sometimes some of these mistakes happen. So I hope all of us can learn some of these things. Thank you very much. Udo, were you done with the answer?
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so Cosmos, this is not Cosmos Energy, but I'm sure this is an individual called Cosmos. He's saying that he's a bit confused about the tuition deposit. Is that the same as the tuition fees?
Okay, thank you very much, Cosmos. I know many people who are applying to study overseas, US and Canada and Europe, they find it difficult to understand. If your tuition is $50,000, you've seen that on the website, on the program page, then once the admission is offered to you, they send you about 5%, 5 to 10% invoice to pay. That payment is a down payment that says, I am interested, I've made a commitment to study at this university. So like I did say earlier, Empower does not take care of that, because if you had not made a commitment to study, there's no need to get a third party to fund it. So that's going to be your responsibility. So tuition deposit is different from tuition fee. Is actually a portion of your tuition fee. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. We're having a lot of questions. I think I'll take 2 more questions and then we go to the next session, so that once we are done, we can come back to the rest of the questions, if that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So Kingsford is asking, does it mean once you apply, you automatically be considered for the funding, or are there criteria that you have to meet? That's
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just be patient at the next segment while I explain to you. I will let you know the things that might make you not to get the funding. All right. But they are not very stringent. They are not strict. If you have your education approved, your application approved, I don't think there's anything that will make you not to have it. If you follow the processes, I will explain to you shortly.
Okay. Thank you. I think there's a question that I particularly find interesting, so I want to read that one. It's from Sinku Lancelot. It says that, please, does Empower have any constraints in relation to students who were on a scholarship, but for some reason may have lost it?
You mean all the scholarships? I don't know if he could explain who are on scholarship, because they are detached from every other organization. They are running their business. It's a business, right?
I think if I understand him correctly, what he's trying to ask is that maybe I'm I went to the US. I'm doing a 2-year master degree program. After 6 months or 1 year, I've lost my scholarship. Can Empower
Yeah,
come after that point to help?
absolutely. Absolutely, they can. It's about funding. Take notes, Lancelot, right?
Lancelot, yeah.
Lancelot, right? It is business, but they make it very comfortable for people who are studying because they believe after higher education, you have the opportunity of being employed, all right? And they spread it over 10 years. It's business.
Okay. All right. So maybe since this was a pretty straightforward, I'll give the last question and then we'll go on. So that
Yeah.
does US or Canada have free tuition programs? That's from Mr. Emmanuel Emisa.
Could you repeat it again?
It says
Does
that does US or Canada have
Okay.
free tuition programs? I think it should be tuition-free programs.
Okay, tuition-free programs. I think this falls outside of the scope of our conversation because, like I said earlier, what we are not discussing application, universities, we are trying to discuss a funding institution that can give you money to pay your tuition. So any other thing you want to find out about US and Canada, you go dig it up yourself. You do the research, but that's outside the scope of this conversation. We are discussing an organization that's willing to give you money with ease, and they are trusted both by the universities and the embassies.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I suppose you can go on. There are a few other questions, but I think when you're done, we have roughly 20 minutes to go. So when you're done, we'll take them up again.
All right. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank
All
you.
right. Application walkthrough is very simple. It's DIY. You can do it yourself. You have to go to Empower website, and this is the website, empowerfinancing.com. Okay. Once you're there, you choose the universities that are supported, that are in partnership with Empower. If you choose any university outside that space, you will not be considered because it's not even in the application list. All right. So once you choose the supporting university institution, you do your processing of your admission. Every other thing in between is not part of this conversation. I believe sitting here today, being on this meeting means you're either studying or you've studied or you've finished your studies and you're working. So you have a level of exposure. So you secure admission by yourself, but you have to choose the universities and colleges that are in partnership with Empower. All right. And then get all your documents ready, your passport, your identity, your passport, your college degrees, your address, very, very important. These are some of the reasons that people get knocked out. They don't make it when they apply. You make sure that your address on your bank statement, because they will ask you to submit your bank statement. Your address on your KYC, that is your home and your utility, and then your address on your CV, they are the same. There's something they call mandate profile updates in the Nigerian banks. I don't know what they call it, elsewhere, but here in Canada, you just go into the app and update your address. It's very simple, but make sure that you use one single address, right? Uniform address that is verifiable. Okay, if that becomes an issue, they will leave you and deny you. Okay, this answered the question when someone was asking, to know if there are things that could make someone not to get it. Yes. Now go to your university website. Remember, it has to be a partner university or college, right? So you go to their website. Every university or college in the US and Canada, they have page for description of the program. They have page for tuition explanation, the details of the tuition. Don't be lazy at this. Go into details. Do that yourself, DIY. Look at the tuition, get the figures, write them down, and then go to the page about living expense. Living expense varies from university to university and also cities to city. Generally from IRCC, Canadian immigration is about $10,000. But for those of us who live in British Columbia, we know it's way ahead of that. I mean, it should be about 15,000. Here is expensive. If you're in Ottawa or maybe Saskatchewan, it's a little cheaper. So you go into the university website, get the living expense details, because you'll be needing them for your application. Likewise, the US, maybe you're in Michigan, you're California. So it's better you take your time, study like, you've passed your exams in colleges and all that, so you should be patient to study. Get those details, key in those details during your application. All right. Then you apply. After you've got all these things sorted, right? The college or university has to be the ones that are in partnership with Empower. They have free eligibility tests. Please avoid this. If your name and email gets into the system and it didn't make it, I can bet you apply 100,000 times, you're not going to get it. Please avoid this. That's why I put it as a warning. Don't do the eligibility test. If you want to do it, you could just maybe create an email address of your child or something. And I suggest don't even use the IP address, same phone or computer. Because from experiences, sometimes you see when you have multiple applications from a single device, I don't know why it keeps it knocks them off, and you see that you don't pass the eligibility. So take note of this. And then once you apply, if you document everything is fine, I'm sure nothing will deny you. And because this is a rare opportunity, don't take it for granted. Ensure you get everything right. Your addresses are right. Your documents are clearly scanned copy. I mean, if you don't have a scanner at home or soft copies, you can download Android and iOS apps for scanning. Make sure you have clear illumination where you're doing the scan, so that you don't tell stories. You don't get denied because of flimsy excuses. All right, it's a rare opportunity, so we'll take it very serious. So when you get your loan approved, then you study the contract. Look at this, 8 and 9 are the same. Why am I saying it? Why am I repeating that? Because you need to study to know how much you'll be paying every month, right? And understand the whole thing about the contract. It's going to be straight 10 years to elastic limit of about 12, 2 years extra. So you look at it, you're 20 this year, next time you should be 30, and you could have up to 2 years, 32 to finish paying your loan. And this is the credit society that we are in Canada and the US. Is nothing. So that builds your credit. So if you're in Canada, US, you want to buy a house, it's already built your credit. If you want to buy a car, you already built your credit. And I mean, the advantages of getting credit records is so invaluable. You here in Canada, you don't go into a car shop, car stand and pay cash, for a brand new car. No, they wouldn't do that. The car dealers are part of the banking system, so everything is credit record. So you see that Empower is granting you that opportunity to build your credit record. Now, once you've signed the contract, then you with Empower, you request for a loan document for your study permits. This to me is actually the best thing they've done to any student, right? Because financial statement has been the reasons Africans don't get their study visas approved, when they're filling their I-20 for the US or the IRCC study permit. Okay, this is the bomb actually. They will give you a document that you just upload it and is recognized by the embassies. Okay, other opportunities, assuming you've got your visa approved, definitely you're gonna get it approved. Nothing can stop that. Nothing. I can bet you. Most denials are because of funding. So if you're now in Empower, you can participate in monthly essays, which are scholarships of about $1,000, right? US dollars, not Canadian dollars. which should be I don't know, do the math. It converted to Canadian cedi, sorry, Ghana cedis. You see how much that stands, and it's very, very. I think that's a boost for you as a student that could feed you for one week, right? And if you're a good spender, you could, take yourself out and have good lunch, So they could even, sometimes they give up to 5,000 scholarships on some essays. You must write an essay within Empower. You're already an Empower student. So these are the things they do to encourage the Empower students to get more money. Another important thing is referral. If you have someone who is in the credit system of Empower, who has a referral and has the credit record that is very good, it's encouraged that you make use of the person's referral in your application. If you do that, that gives you a boost in getting approved, because the person's referral is already in the system and has a good record. So two things happen. If you do that, by the time you get into the university, Empower will give you 100 US dollars, which is 130 Canadian dollars, right? Voucher, which you can use to go shopping. And then the person that has referred you gets 300 Canadian US dollars rather. But the money is not the money is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that it gives you a credibility that you can. I mean, it gives you a credibility of being approved. Okay, so but I would drop a referral. It's for you to choose it or not choose it. But it's better for you to choose it. It's for you to have the opportunity of getting approved. So I'll drop in the chat box later, but this is the referral that you can use, and that's the website Empower Financing. And then the final questions. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Udochukwu. I think it's been a very educative session.
Yeah,
And all right, I think that was just an interruption. All right, so thank you so much for the very educative information you've given to us. We are happy and we are grateful for the time you have spent. Obviously, there'll be more questions from students and the floor is open. So please, if you have questions, as we indicated earlier, you can type them up and then I'll read them to our guest who is giving us the resource person. Yeah, my English is finishing today. All right. So
it's a second language.
Yes, it is a second language indeed. So there were a couple of questions from the first session that I think we can address before we get on to this session, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
Yeah. So it says that can you apply when you have a student loan to pay in your home country? Francis Keen, I think he's offline now, but I don't know whether the question is clear.
Yes. So if the person has a loan already in his home country, yeah, you can apply. The other thing is, do you have a good credit record? In fact, it gives you a boost if you have a record of a loan in your home country and you've not defaulted. Okay, Francis, you've led, but I think it's an advantage, honestly, because some people don't know those, in a credit system, the more you borrow, the more you're eligible to borrow.
All right. One final question from the previous section. It says that what happens should the beneficiary of the scholarship pass away?
Could you repeat? Let me see if I can see the question.
Mr. Lancelot Sinku, he asked that what happens should the beneficiary of the scholarship, I think it's not really a scholarship, but the funding, what happens if the beneficiary passes away?
Okay, well, it's in the contract. You sign it. I don't know the details what happens because the person is gone. There is no cosigner. That's why it's called the loan is a risk loan, right? I think the term is just a moment. Just a moment. The term is a subprime mortgage. they're taking risk, right? In all this. So, but I mean, for anyone who is there, is there. So the business should know what they're doing. I don't work for Empower, so I get this clear. I don't know what's going to happen. But there's no cosign and no surety.
All right. Okay, thank you. I think we can get on to the immediate session that we were listening to. So from Nana Ajuba Efrifa, she says, my brother wasn't aware that there was an issue with his bank statement and it wasn't brought to his attention during the application process. Unfortunately, due to this oversight, he has been informed that he is temporarily ineligible to apply for a Canadian visa. Okay, I don't think this is what we I don't think this is the theme of our discussion, Nana Ajuba Efrifa, so I may have to skip the rest of your question. So from Janet Intwa, she says, does Empower have a specific period to apply for the loans, or it is open throughout the year?
It runs throughout the year, Janet, and it's encouraged that you apply at least 3 months to the start of your education, which means you quickly, rally around, get your admission approved. This is October, right? So if you're planning to be there by January and you've secured an admission already, so you start your Empower loan now, you could do it within 1 month, but it gives everyone the ample time to finalize the paperwork.
Thank you. From Mercy, is this applicable for undergraduates also? I think earlier you had mentioned that this is for just master's students.
Yeah.
All right. So Mercy, unfortunately, this is only for master's students. It doesn't apply for undergraduates. It does not even apply
it does apply, but you will have already, we're here for masters, right? But for undergraduate, you will have already traveled to the US and spent 2 years, and that's not why we are here. We're here to see the system that can move you there, not that you're there already. However, if you're there already, I don't know, perhaps you're in the US, you can apply.
Okay. Thank you. So Bismarck Datsy is also saying, does it mean that you have to get an admission before you can apply for financial support from Empower Financing?
Yes and no. From their description, their own recommendation, they say you can apply anytime, but I am telling you, don't do that. Apply when you have the admission, because if the system denies you, next time you apply, it becomes a problem. Okay, so I'm here to guide you the best way for you to get it. Secure admission. Don't do the test. What's it called? The test eligibility test. Don't put your data inside. Just secure admission, and you apply. You sure get it.
All right. Thank you. So Charles Apple Grant says, what documents am I supposed to get ready before I can apply for the Empower Financial Support?
Okay, Charles, thank you. Very, very important question. Very, very important question. Your international passport, your CV, your bank statements in the same address as in your CV, your utility for KYC, your customer, and your college certificates, your certifications. And that's it. These are the things you need.
Okay, thank you. Somebody's asking, is there an age limit for the funding? Hopefully not.
Oh, no.
Okay. All of us are going to look at it again. So we are in a prime of our lives. We would have been sad. All right.
No age limits. You only have funding limits, and that's $100,000. And I give it to them because $100,000 can fund every education in the US and Canada.
Okay. Is Empower restricted to specific schools in these countries, or you can apply from whichever school? I think a follow-up or a similar question says that I tried to apply, but the school I got admission from is not on the Empower list of schools. What should I do? So I suppose you can put them together.
Okay, so that's Sheriff, right? Sherifa.
Sherifa.
Is that?
and then HP.
Okay. Yep, okay. Sherifa, yes, is restricted to the schools that are in partnership with Empower. Don't choose any school outside Empower. It's just a waste of time. Okay. And then HP, I tried to apply, but the school I got admission from is not on. Yeah, the same question.
Yeah.
Please look for the school, colleges and universities that are in partnership with Empower.
All right. So some 2 questions. We have 3 minutes to end the session. So I suppose we will take the last 2 questions and then we'll have some announcements before we close at 4 o'clock. Right. So the first one says, if you already have a master's degree from Ghana, can you still be considered if you want to do a second master's in the US or in Canada?
Although it's outside the scope of this, but yes, let me help you out. If you had a master's degree in one field, let the second master's degree be like an enhancement to the one you already have, right? You wouldn't have master's degree in petroleum engineering. You want to study petroleum engineering master's degree, it doesn't make sense again, right? Or master's in software engineering, and you want to do master's in let me say artificial intelligence. Yeah, you could do certifications and get it. So that master's degree, it may cost you the admission. So try to balance it up. You already have education, so that can secure a job. But the other master's degree is to expand your professionalism. All right.
Okay, thank you. I suppose the last question is the question all of us are asking. How do we keep in touch with you, Mr. Udochukwu?
Oh, wow. SP is one family. SP is built on a tenet of networking. So I will provide my email address and my LinkedIn. So feel free to contact me anytime, any day.
All right. So I don't know if you mind typing it up in the chat box so that people can copy it now.
Okay.
If it's not too much trouble.
All right. So yeah.
Right. Thank you. All right. So all of you, we want to especially thank you for coming, but I suppose all of us would want to virtually clap for Mr. Udochukwu for giving us such a dedicated and detailed presentation. I think this session has been very informative. Although I have a PhD, I may consider doing a second master's in the US, hopefully to enjoy this wonderful opportunity. I think those of us in Africa can say that indeed the economies of our countries are not doing great, but if you have an opportunity to just go and better yourself, get employment somewhere, I think this is a good opportunity and we should look at making the best out of it. So thank you, Mr. Udochukwu, so much for the time and a very detailed presentation. We are grateful. There are a few announcements. I don't know, before I make that announcement, let me finish announcements and I'll give you the floor again. There are a few announcements from the bigger SPE Ghana section. So there are some technical lectures that are also coming up. There's one coming up at the end of this month on 26th October at 2 p.m. It's called the Flexible Pipe Technology Review and Value Proposal for Long-Term Energy Sustainability. The speaker will be Mr. Ronald Panti, Operations Director at Baker for Flexible Pipe Systems onshore, and also Jose Luis Pinto Vergara. He's also a lead engineer, customer application engineering at Baker Hughes. There's also a run and a walk for Run for a Cure. I think this for Pink October, and there's also another one for breast cancer. With that one, there will be a webinar with somebody who is a breast cancer survivor. Of course, when we hear breast cancer, we always think it's for the ladies alone, but let's not be misinformed. There are quite a few men who have also suffered from this kind of cancer. So it'll be very important that you come and listen in. At least even if the men, if you're not married yet, you can listen for your future wife. And so there are opportunities, and I suppose all of us can listen in and give our best to our own selves for the rest of our lives. You can also follow the link that has just been shared by Mr. Fifi O2 to register to be part of SPE. If you're not a part, For those who are fresh graduates, I know some of us may think that we don't have a job, so we can't be professional members. You can join SPE and ask for a waiver, but I'm sure the membership team would give us more information. But at least you can join for now if you're not already a member. And those who are fresh graduates, you can also join. I think there's a first year waiver after university. So you can renew your membership if you've not done so this year. If there are no further announcements, I would want to give the floor once again to Mr. Udochukwu Akunan, if he has a few final words for us.
Thank you very much. I want to thank everyone for listening in. And in the spirit of SPE, I'm here available, I'm reachable, I'm accessible for any question. But like I said, it's a DIY. Do it yourself. I will share the slides so that you can reflect on it, and then you can make reference to it for your own benefits. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. And someday I'll come to Ghana.
All right. Thank you so much. Hopefully someday is this weekend, and then we'll have a proper jollof war. But I think the jollof war has been won. Ghana is already leading with a very strong. But yeah, thank you so much, Udo. We are very grateful for this time you shared with us. And hopefully by the end of the year, some of our people can actually turn up and say they've gotten this opportunity, and it's thanks to you. And for all those who joined, maybe you joined a bit late, you missed most of the discussion. There'll be a YouTube link with a recording that we'll share a bit later. That's why it's good to be a part of SP, so that when the link is shared, you can follow and listen for some details. Mr. Udo has also shared his details. So in case there are further questions, you can follow his LinkedIn profile link and his email address and send contacts or further information from him. So once again, thank you all for coming, and thank you so much. We'll continue our conversations again soon. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and bye.